In 2019, the country was hit by a swarm of desert locusts from Somalia. It was rated as the worst invasion in 70 years. The country was caught flat-footed even after an alert was issued several months before the pest struck. As if playing catch-up, Kenyans in affected areas were forced to use unavailable means to scare the ravaging pests. And when coronavirus kicked in, the prominence that was given the locust faded away as the focus shifted to the new pandemic. But to confirm whether locusts are still active in Kenya, we traveled on to Laisamis in Marsabit County, where we found millions of young locusts that had just hatched. Their presence is highly destructive to the pasture in this area. They have not started flying as they are yet to mature enough to fly. Herders in this area have every reason to be worried should the pest be left to devour the pasture for their animals.
One swarm is known to eat food that can actually feed over 35,000 people. So picture that. I mean, one swarm can deplete a lot of resources in terms of food.
At Lewa Conservancy in Meru County, preparation to spray the locust is underway. Chemicals are being loaded into these spraying aircraft. After everything is ready, we follow the team to Muguru village in Samburu County, where spraying commences. A look at this bush may have you confuse it for a drying forest, but in actual sense, it is a brown locust canopy. We were informed that these are locusts that were bred locally after the invasion last year. It is barely 3 days after this swarm of locusts landed here, and the residents are already feeling the heat of their destruction.
Hii kitu imetusumbua kwa muda, locust. Hii inaitwa lumati. Hata imemaliza shamba yangu. Mimi nimelima shamba nusu eka, imefagia yote, hakuna.
There was challenges of spraying, there was challenges of ground surveillance, and also tracking the locust. So we battled it, but along the way, many partners came. The national government increased its efforts, FAO joined in, and now there are two ways. There is ground surveillance and there is aerial surveillance.
We created 6 bases, depending on the intensity of invasion. So we have base 1 in Garissa, we have another base in Wajir, we have a base here in Isiolo, which is serving Samburu, Isiolo, and I think part of Baringo. Then we have a base in Lodwar and Marsabit. So these are the points of action. So far, the government says it has spent 500 million shillings to control the pest.
We are still spending because the exercise is not concluded, but we have enough resources from partners. World Bank, African Development Bank, and also FAO.
Concerns have been raised over the safety of the chemicals being used, as they are seen to affect livestock, bees, and other creatures.
In science, there's something called selective toxicity. That means what kills insects cannot kill a mammal unless you take very abnormal proportions. Yeah. So because of that, we are able to take drugs that kill bacteria but cannot kill us in those quantities. So the quantities that are used when they spray, you can't even feel it because they are in ultra low volume and they are targeted for insects.
Several counties have recorded invasion of swarms of locusts, among them Isiolo, Samburu, Marsabit, Laikipia, Garissa, Turkana, among others.
We're thinking of adding more helicopters with even some sophisticated gadgets that are able to be used for surveillance, identify the targets. Because where we've reached now, the issue is not the spraying plane. The spray plane will spray, but there has to be locusts to be sprayed. And that locust has to be identified, it has to be marked, and coordinates have to be given. If you're not able to do that, then you will have the chemicals and the plane and everything, and you're doing nothing with it. Or the plane will go and miss the target and you just waste your chemical.
A few days ago, the United Nations warned of another wave of locusts that could be 20 times worse than the previous. A warning that locust experts have downplayed, arguing that the wind which the pests depend on is not favorable for them to move. The government has, however, assured it will eradicate all locusts in the country in the next 3 months. Dan Kaburu, K24, Samburu County.